One of the earlier projects that I worked on, that I remember working on as an architect, is some seismic retrofit that we did for the School of Architecture in Berkeley, a Brewster Hall building. I moved from Spain to here to the US, and it was one of the first projects that I was working on here in the US. It was a great learning experience for me in understanding how the business of architecture works in this country. What was interesting about it, or what I learned about it, is that the complex structure of and those involved in the decisions. We had a lot of design charrettes, and so we had a lot of students and staff involved, and so it was particularly interesting for that aspect of it.
The first project I worked on with NTD is 6 street frontage projects for 6 separate elementary schools. Hardly building architecture, however, it was the design of the spatial relationships between the public right-of-way and the entries to the schools. New parking lots, new drop-off lanes, new bioswales. Furthermore, the construction of 6 separate projects were only over 10 weeks and were amounting to $14 million. Very complicated and very fast-paced approach to demo, and only a time for or through summertime.
My first project was actually when I was finishing my master's at the School of Architecture at Cal Poly Pomona. 2 friends of mine came to me and said, "Hey Craig, we bought this great piece of land in Hawaii. It has a sweeping view of the ocean. Would you like to help us out?" So I said, "Of course, sure." It turned into me doing a complete set of drawings, plans, design, and directing the project. The home was successfully finished in 2007.
And I'm going to talk about my first real architecture project that I did. It was a 20,000 square foot development services building for the town of Apple Valley. And this was basically my first project where I was project manager and project designer, and this was after basically just being a junior designer on projects before. It was definitely challenging. Some of the biggest challenges that I faced were kind of the standard challenges of young designers. Coordinating with the engineering consultants, definitely, and also I don't really feel like I had the grasp on materials to really finesse the details of the design. The client had some very specific ideas about cost savings, even though our project was below budget, and that was really hard to fend off, especially with my limited CA experience. And that kind of leads into, I think, the biggest lesson learned, which was that you really have to partner with your client, and you have to kind of get them on board 100% so that they're your biggest advocate when you're actually out there in the field.
One of the first projects I had the opportunity to work on was the Street Lofts, which was a live-work development in downtown Fresno that was supposed to cater to local artists and young professionals in the community. The zoning really didn't reflect the type of projects that you would want to see in an urban environment. So things that may have been standard for, a project in San Francisco or LA is a very unique project type in Fresno. So we really had to educate local building officials on that typology in order to get approvals to see the project through.
The first project that made me realize what it took to be an architect was a small residential backyard trellis installation that I did for one of my parents' friends. Now, I was about 14 or 15 years old when I did this project, but it led to an intense desire to work closely with people and bring out the best in every project and every concept.
The first project I was involved with at a school was the Baker and Hamilton building with Tanner Letty Madam Stacy Architects in San Francisco. It was a very large commercial renovation of a historic masonry warehouse. We had to deal with the relationship of new elements versus existing, and it was quite a challenge from a detailing standpoint to deal with items that were not plumb or level, dealing with just found conditions and reacting to those in a meaningful way.
One of the projects that was really career-changing project for me was working on Granada Theatre restoration. It's an old theatre built in 1930s, and we recently finished the restoration in 2007 and brought it back to its full glory. Luckily, we had about 6 or 7 old drawings, so we could see what the vision of the original architect was, and we took the building down to its shell. We rebuilt the stage house to meet all the modern requirements of rigging and audiovisual systems and things like that. But within the interior, we pretty much recreated the entire interior design that the original architect had from scratch. And that changed my direction in architecture completely. I found my passion in performing arts, especially in renovating historic buildings. And since then, I've actually had the opportunity to work on 3 more performing arts projects. So I'm really excited about where my career is going at this point. Find out what you're really passionate about. Find out what sort of architecture you want to do. Because what I noticed when I graduated, that the firms don't do everything. There are firms that particularly specialize in certain types of projects. So it's very critical for you to know whether you want to do residential, or you want to do commercial, or you want to do institutional projects, and then start looking for jobs in that particular field. I still believe that though the economy is not that good, I still think there is place for talent. You have to have the right passion for it. More than the talent, I think the firms are looking for the passion that you bring to the office team, because it also revives the other people in the team and brings the passion back in the office.